Well, earlier on, as I alluded to, we did do an interview with the representative of the Seychelles Securities Stock Exchange. Now, this is with regard to how this small economy is really hoping to capitalize on the capital adventures and opportunities for investors to attract some kind of foreign direct investment into that particular island. I sat down with Bobby Brantley, who's the chief executive of Trop-X, also known as the Seychelles Securities Exchange, to get more of an understanding as to what this particular venture is about.
Well, Trop-X applied to a open invitation to make proposals to set up the National Stock Exchange for Seychelles back in 2011. We very thankfully were awarded the bid and consequently sent in the full application and achieved the license to set up the exchange. The proposal that we made was to set up a full-fledged multi-asset national stock exchange for the country. And that's what we've been focused on since 2012. So we're looking to develop the capital markets of the country, but also more broadly the regional capital markets, and looking to help develop Seychelles as a platform for investment for what we call the AMEA, which is the Africa, Middle East, and Asia. I think just due to proximity, we're focused a little bit more on Africa in terms of our regional focus in the near term, but we certainly see opportunities for growth into the Middle East and Asia. Particularly for attracting investors. So we might see more listings sort of coming out of Africa, for instance, but you can't ignore the mass amounts of wealth that have accumulated in the Middle East and Asia. And so we're particularly looking at some opportunities to sort of bridge that with issuers in Africa that are looking for investment.
I want us to touch on that because it does seem as though the Seychelles has several incentives to help drive foreign direct investment into the country. Maybe if you can walk us through some of them, especially the tax treaties.
Sure. We have a pretty healthy network of tax treaties. I think the most prominent ones that people are using these days are for Indonesia and China. Obviously, there's a fantastic opportunity with China with the growth story that's going there. We also have a very good tax treaty with South Africa. I believe we've concluded another one with Kenya recently, and I know the government's focus very much on achieving double tax avoidance agreements with as many African countries as possible. So what this allows you to do is to set up investment structures in Seychelles where you can route investment and look to pool capital for investment into these countries. And do so in a way where it's achieving the maximum return for the investors. So a country like Seychelles, really what we focus on is creating structures that allow for efficient investment and pooling investments and allowing for that investment to be returned to the investors without attracting tax in Seychelles, which of course is a benefit to the investors when they receive the investments back. So. That's what we're focused on as well with the exchange. The types of products that we're looking at and the listing framework is to try to help facilitate those types of investment products being listed in Seychelles.
If you look at the economy, however, of the Seychelles, it certainly has managed to transform itself and is trying to move away from the over-reliance on tourism, especially exposure to the Eurozone environment, which we've seen. But if you can maybe give us some highlights as to the capital that you're trying to see flowing into the Seychelles, how much of that might be based on the areas of diversification in the economy, more importantly, the blue economy?
Sure. The blue economy is quite an interesting thing. I'm glad you raised that. The current Minister of Finance, under his portfolio now, is also finance trade in the blue economy. So Seychelles is very interested in developing in a sustainable way the vast amount of oceans that we have in our territorial waters here. So there are some ideas that the government has in terms of attracting investment, and we look forward to continuing to have discussions with them about how the exchange might be used for that.
On that, though, the private sector, how open are they to coming in to the Seychelles? As you mentioned, there's ongoing conversations there. Are these proving to be fruitful?
Definitely. I think we have to separate a little bit investment into Seychelles and investment via Seychelles. I mean, to be honest, I think from a capital markets perspective, the biggest opportunity we have is developing the investment through Seychelles side of things. We, of course, want to provide a platform that encourages investment in Seychelles, and that's one of our core focuses and obligations as an exchange. But developing the capital markets, and really the bigger opportunity that we see in the long term is creating a capital market platform for the region where we attract fund managers, banks, asset managers, stockbrokers, and bring a whole new industry to Seychelles to grow the financial sector, which of course will develop the whole economy of Seychelles as well. And then you have all sorts of peripheral benefits of tourism and business tourism and things like this, which come with developing that new industry. So, you know, you have both sides of it. I mean, I think that we can effectively help attract investment into Seychelles and for projects, for instance, in the blue economy, and also with more regional focused investments as well.